Hey everybody, it is Monday, April 24th. I'm on my first break of the day, which is my lunch. I only have like 10 minutes left of lunch. I went to the lounge and ate with my team and then came back to my room, picked up a little bit, and figured I would check in. So if you watched my last video, I had a rough week last week, but today my class came in. They came in well. We started our morning work. The day started off pretty strong. We worked on like writing with commas in a series and, the correct placement for those. And then our reading and our social studies, we just combined them together because we have a big social studies test and it's over 5 different like chapters. Really, they call them lessons, but essentially they're chapters. And the test requires a lot, and we started half of the unit of the social studies before state testing, and then we've kind of finished up the last bit of it after state testing. So there's just a lot of information that has been kind of thrown at them. So we did a lot of reviewing. We just started with one of the chapters and reviewed and made sure we had the important information and the text highlighted, and we looked through some of the diagrams and things and charts throughout, make sure all those were filled out so that we can use those to review. So my morning class did well, and we also took some time to clean out our desk and move. I had made a new seating chart, and I finished that up while they were working on their English this morning. And so I'm hoping the new seating helps a few kiddos. Every time you move seatings, you always create new problems, because eventually they start getting comfortable with each other, or you thought maybe they would handle being around each other, but then they just start talking or, goofing around. So I have a few that I'm not exactly sure how it will work out, but I'm just putting them there and giving it a try. So far, so good. And so after lunch, we come back and we have a little bit of time for a read aloud, usually like 20 minutes, and then we take a bathroom break, and then it's time to switch, and I get my afternoon class. And my afternoon class will mostly be working on reading and social studies. Like we'll just do combined with our social studies. They never were able to finish the last chapter of the social studies unit, so they need to read that, answer those questions, and then we'll start working on part of our study guide for the test. They're also going to get a new seating chart, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it today or tomorrow. Kind of just depends while they're working independently if I can finish up and get them moved. Because I wait until they get in here to finalize the seating chart, and I just like double check that, okay, these people can't sit together, or these people, reminded me that they need to sit up front. And so overall, it's been a pretty good day. Definitely way better than it was last week. Definitely better than my weekend. I talked about my last video on Sunday. I was having a lot of stomach pains, but today those have went away, thankfully. So I'm pretty happy today. So I will check back in with you on my next break. Bye, guys. Hi, everybody. It is my last break of the day, and my kids are on specials, and I have about 15 minutes or so until I pick them up. So I was picking up my room a little bit. I cleaned off my small group table from today, and I went and made some copies for some things we are going to be doing tomorrow. So tomorrow in English, we are, I don't remember what else we're doing at this moment, because I didn't have to make copies for that. But we haven't practiced like our dictionary skills in a while, and they always need a review. Some of them are just really super quick with the dictionary and are able to find the words right away. Others struggle. So I just found this sheet, and this is just using a word search and finding some of the hidden words. And then at the bottom, it's asking you to find 2 extra tough words hidden in the word search, and then trying to find them and write them down. So just a little bit of a challenge. But then on the back, it's giving us just some different vocabulary words and wanting us to use our dictionaries to look them up, and then finding 3 other words that they didn't know before, and then writing the definition. So we'll get out our student dictionaries and work on that in the morning for part of our English. And then if we have time, we're going to be using our English book and has something to do with writing and using commas again, because today we practiced commas in a series, but I just don't remember exactly at this moment. For social studies, like I said, we were finishing up our chapter 5, and the last lesson was our lesson 5, and so they're going to work on it's a 5-question quiz, and these are usually just open book, and then after that they're working on a crossword of a lot of the questions that are on our actual chapter 5 test, and that it's chapter 5, but then we have lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and each of those lessons are essentially like a chapter. Our book kind of does it different, so they'll work on this probably with a partner, and this, like I said, is a lot of the questions that are on the test, so they'll work on that for social studies. And then we'll probably also go through chapter 5 lesson 2, because today we went through lesson 1 and just made sure we reread it, made sure we highlighted text, so we'll probably do that with our lesson 2 as well. So we'll have a lot to do. That will take up a lot of our time, and then depending on if we have time, we are working on Genius Hour. I'm not sure if I talked to you guys about that before or not, but they're going to be getting this, and it's telling them the requirements for their pitch, because they have to pitch their Genius Hour idea to the class, and then we kind of give them the approval, like yes, continue on, or no go, ask questions, that kind of thing. So we'll work on that at some point, hopefully. If not, I'll introduce it first thing on Wednesday morning, and then when we go to the computer lab, they'll be able to work on their pitches in there using, like PowerPoint or Prezis or emails, those kinds of things. And for our reading, I found one of the workbooks I have, it has 2 different topics. One is, not topics, it's kind of the same thing, but one is a fiction, and it has just a reading passage, and then one is, I don't think it copied the way I wanted it to, but that's okay. And then the other is a passage, and it is nonfiction, and then it just has some questions, and then it always has like some kind of writing aspect to it. So it's just using 2 different readings, fiction and nonfiction, answering questions, and then a writing assignment. And so we'll work on that for our reading. It's just basically nonfiction and fiction, like paired text. And a lot of times they do stuff like that within the state testing. Our writing this year was 2 different passages that they read over the same topic, and then they wrote an informational essay. So I'm just trying to get them familiar with a variety of text. And using fiction and nonfiction are something they've done a lot. We've done different nonfiction texts, different fiction texts, but really not a lot of fiction and nonfiction. So one of the workbooks I found, it seemed like a pretty cool resource, and so we're going to work on this. And we might not get it all done because we're going to reread it. We're going to read it, and we're going to highlight and label the different paragraph numbers, and look for different text evidence, and look for words that we're not familiar with, and do quite a bit of close reading type of activities with it first before we even answer the questions or the writing activity. So I need to get all of these stapled and ready, because it's a little packet that everyone will be working on. So if I don't get it done during my plan time, then I can always work on it in the morning, or have a student ready. But I might be able to chat and work on it. I do have this nifty little electric stapler that my husband got me, and it works great for stuff like this, because you can just staple it and move on with your day. So my afternoon class, they did really well. They came in, they did their morning, really afternoon work, I guess, but their morning work, what they do to get settled in, and then we read our last lesson for our chapter in our social studies book, highlighted the information, filled out the diagrams and things like that.
This is Cantrell. Sorry, this is Campbell.
not sure. I think they meant to tell them to page the office or something. But anyways, so, and then they worked on the study guide. I think everyone got the study guide finished. It was only 10 questions. It's just one that's in the book. It's really not really that in-depth or similar to the test at all. But, I mean, they got to start on it. They were able to work on it. So, all in all, I mean, pretty good day for Monday. If you watched my last video, I wasn't really prepared for the week. Hadn't really planned out the day or all of my lessons. So, just kind of been getting that going, and I do have more to plan for the rest of the week, but I do have a head start on it, and I just need to finish writing those plans. So I'm going to finish stapling all of these, and I will talk with you guys later. Bye. President. And he needed, it looks like.
In Washington, D.C., he did have college degree to grow his beard.
You're doing good, buddy. Don't look at him, just read your paper. Then you don't have to be nervous. Okay, scoot back a little bit.
Little girl, Vince tends to grow his beard. He was the first president.
Hey everybody, I am home for the evening. I went to school and we did the snow cones. I went to the book fair and watched the second graders do their little biography presentations, which you saw a little clip I put, that was actually my son, and he was super nervous. It was the first time. When we first got there, no one was really sure what they were supposed to be doing, but so I just put a little clip in from that. And they got better and less nervous, you know, as they did the presentations. Anyway, so I'm outside on my porch because we are expecting storms. Tonight they said could be an enhanced risk for thunderstorms. I live in Tornado Valley, so it could get interesting. We're looking at like high winds, hail, that kind of thing. So I'm just kind of sitting outside right now. It looks pretty nice. It doesn't really look stormy at this very moment. But I'm just sitting outside. My husband's trying to freeze me out of the house, I think, because it's so cold in there. Like, super, super, super cold. I have a sweater on. I mean, today I was wearing pants already. And I had little sandals on because these are kind of like cropped pants. Put socks on, and I still couldn't get warm. Like, covered up, so I came outside on the porch and was just watching the kids play basketball and watching YouTube, and just figured I would go ahead and check in with you guys. this evening. Sorry, I got a message. Okay. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't something important. So yeah, I'm just hanging outside seeing if the storms, they said it sometime after 7, and it's like 8 o'clock and nothing's happened yet. But we'll just have to see how things go. If anything interesting happens, I'll see if I can get it on film. Because we're the kind of people, because we're used to storms, I don't like them. I do not like tornadoes. When they're talking like really, really close, because I'm not sure, I mean, it depends on where you're from. But here, I mean, they can usually pinpoint it. They'll be like, it is, at 55th South Avenue or something, and so they're kind of can give you a really more narrow down of how close it is to your house, and so I don't get as nervous then. That's when I get really nervous, like if it's really approaching, like getting close to our home or something. But the county that we live in is so big that it's literally like more than one town. So I mean, just because our county is under like a tornado warning or a watch, I don't start panicking. And even if our sirens go off, I usually the type that, oh, the sirens are going off, so we go outside and look, because this is just kind of where we've been born and raised, and we're used to it, and so we kind of go outside and check out the weather. But if we were watching the news and they were like legit like saying like this is heading to your house, this is very dangerous, obviously we take cover and do what we have, take our tornado precautions, but the sirens kind of sound even if it's not super close to your house. I don't know. So anyways, we usually kind of go look unless we know it's like super, super close or like more serious than other times. So anyways, I'm just hanging out outside. I'm still cold. I mean, it was like 70-ish today. I don't know what the temperature right now. Let me see. Let me use my phone. But I just can't seem to get warm. I don't know. Hope I'm not getting sick, because I told you guys the other night I couldn't sleep. I was having stomach pains. Yeah, it says it's...
Starting to lightning.
You saw lightning?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's starting lightning. It says it's 74, but I'm still freezing.
That's time, because I saw it like 6 times. I
Well,
was like,
well, then if you saw it 6 times, I'm pretty sure it's real. So, yeah, that was my kiddo. He was jumping on the trampoline in our backyard. I'm in the front yard. And he said that he saw it lightning like 6 times. So he went ahead and went into the house. I'll probably head in soon, because usually if it's lightning, I don't really mess around with that. A good friend of ours, their son died because he was struck by lightning. So the kids know that if it's lightning, it's pretty much we're not going to be outside playing. I mean, especially if we're like anywhere near metal or tree or, anything like that. Like if it was storming and we wanted to come outside real quick and look, we would. But so I'll head in just a minute. I haven't seen lightning in the front, so it's still probably a little bit away. I haven't even heard any thunder. But anyway, so I'm just hanging out. I should probably be being productive. My house needs to be clean. I have lesson planning that I could be doing, things like that. But I'm so cold, I don't even want to be inside on my computer. I turned the air conditioner up. I mean, shh, we won't tell. When he wasn't watching. So hopefully, normally he's the one that's cold. And so I kind of think he's getting sick because all day today he said he was super tired and he didn't sleep well last night either. And he's just been lounging this evening and pretty much been in bed since he got home, and just was saying that he was so hot. And I'm just like, it's freezing in here. And normally he's the one that's cold. So I'm kind of like, maybe he's coming down with something. So I turned it up when he wasn't around. So I'm hoping it's not bothering him and that I can go inside and not feel like I'm freezing.
Hi everybody, it is, what day is it? It's Wednesday, April 26th. So I am on my last break of the day. It is my planning time when my students are in specials. I don't think I filmed any this morning. No, I didn't, because we had PLC this morning. And I came in this morning. It is our staff support appreciation, like admin, secretaries, all of those. and we had a brunch. So I came in and dropped things off in our lounge for them. I made cinnamon rolls, and then went to PLC meeting, and then just did a little bit of work in my room for a few minutes, and then it was time to get our kiddos from the gym. And got the day started. The day was pretty good. Even my kids were like, "Man, you're in a really good mood today." And I was like, "Well, when you guys come in the morning and do what you're supposed to do, I mean, I'm always in a good mood, but that makes me in a much better mood." So we started our day off. We did our morning work, and then we went to the computer lab, and that's where we were planning to work on our Genius Hour pitch presentations, because they'll have like a 90-second pitch where they kind of like try to sell us their idea for the Genius Hour. Okay, so anyways, we went to the computer lab, and they started working on their Genius Hour pitch presentations. And we stayed in there a little bit longer than we normally are scheduled because no one's scheduled after us. So we had a little bit of more freedom. That way we could get a little bit more done. Most finished, a few didn't. It took them a little bit because I gave them an option between using like Prezi or eMaze or just doing like a Google slide type of thing. Most are familiar with Google Slides because we've used those before. eMaze and Prezi were pretty new, but I wanted them to kind of try out something different. So it took a few of them a little bit longer than normal. And so we did that. We came back to the classroom and worked on reading. And then it was basically lunchtime. The day went by really quick. We go late on Wednesdays to school. Well, not we, but the students. Teachers, we meet for our PLC, which is professional learning community. And we meet with our grade level team and go over, student data and pretty much anything we need to talk about, we do. And then our students come later in the afternoon. So not afternoon, later in the morning. So the day goes by really quick on Wednesdays. And so it went by quick. It was lunchtime, went to lunch. We had inside recess because it was storming last night. I had told you about in the clip before. It didn't end up starting storming till like 11, but then it was like really pouring and hailing, and nothing serious where I live, but there was some tornadoes and stuff within my state. But anyway, so went to the lounge for lunch and came back for inside recess, had a bunch of my kiddos in my classroom. They were just playing games and hanging out. And then we had our guidance counselor come in, and I talked to you about it. She did that online. She just had a discussion with them, talked to them about how many have cell phones, how many have tablets, how many have computers, how many of them have a computer like at their home that someone, like an adult, sees them while they're using it. How many of them have a computer that there's no adult like in the room, and explain like there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just asking general questions, no judgment. So lots raised their hand that no one. How many of you in your home, like it's your your parents check your phones, your computers, things like that. Talked about how many of them had ever received like a threatening or a hurtful and threatening type of email or phone call. Asked how many have received like a text or an email or a call from someone they didn't know, and what they did about, like, did they answer, did they tell them it was the wrong number, and then just talk to them about if you get those calls or emails, just make sure to talk with an adult, ask them about the like threatening emails, who they told, did they tell friends, did they tell their parents, and that kind of stuff, and so they just had some discussion, and then she started a video. She only watched half of it, and it kind of creeped the kids out, actually. It's just with some middle school kids, like talking. One girl gives a boy her email address, because they had computers, but not really cell phones back then. And then part of the video, it shows that the news is showing that like there was a girl missing. It wasn't the girl that gave the email away, but it was a girl just in their area that went missing. And trying to remember what happened. Oh, so the girl that had given out her email started getting weird emails like "I'm watching you." Well, that same day she got like an "I'm watching you." Someone knocked on her door. She went and opened it without even looking. The door was already unlocked. After getting a creepy email, and she just opened it, went outside, and was just looking around. And then she kept getting other emails like "I'm going to kill you," "Today is the day that you die" type things. Just very creepy. emails, and then she stopped the movie there. So of course my kids were just like, what happens, who was emailing her? Well, and she had them, she told them throughout the movie they need to think critically while they're watching and look for 2 mistakes that they find throughout the movie. Like maybe her answering the door without even like looking, or maybe that the door was unlocked, or maybe that she didn't tell anybody about the emails. Oh, she did at some point. She told the boy that she had given her email to that she was getting weird emails, and he just said, "Oh, I'm sure it's just a joke." So it kind of left, my class like on a cliffhanger, like, what's gonna happen? That's creepy, most of the kids did pretty good with like the lesson, just being respectful. I had a couple kids like just being silly, like when she got the email like you're gonna die, they were like, oh goody. So we had to talk after about how that's very inappropriate and how that's not respectful to your classmates, because what our guidance counselor was trying to teach us is very important in a very serious matter, that people do go missing every day. Like the girl in the video that they mentioned being missing, people do get threatening emails, and if people aren't able to listen to the discussion or the video without people, using silly like interjections and just talking, that they might not get the information they need. They might not find out things that they should do. You know what I mean? So we just had that discussion, and the little boy was just like, I'm sorry. Like he felt pretty bad after we had discussed it some more. So that went well. Then we switched, had my afternoon class. They did well. They're behind because of state testing and not switching yesterday, because we split the classes and things like that. So we worked on social studies, and we did the quiz that we need to do, and we worked on like the study guide crossword. They didn't get it all finished because we switched a little bit later, so that way we could have the guidance lesson. But anyways, so they worked on that most of the time, and most only have like 4 or 5, so we'll finish up first thing when they come back in tomorrow. So it's been a pretty good day. I am pretty happy with how the day has went. After school we have bus duty. It's a little chilly, but it's not raining, so that's nice. And this evening I don't really have anything to do. Well, I mean, I always have things to do because I am a mom of 4, but you know what I mean. I don't have anything that I have to do like for school, or we're not coming back up here or anything like that. We do have some events approaching, so I need to be like watching my calendar and things like that. But when my afternoon class was in here, I got a call, and I could tell that it was the school's number. All of the schools in our district have like almost the same phone number. So I was thinking either 1, like I have a sick kid, or 2, they're just, the schools send out like school cast, and it will just tell like an event, or if something serious has happened, things like that. So the phone call was about they had heard that there was a possibility of a student having a gun at my son's high school. He's in 9th grade, and that the police were obviously immediately called. They went to the campus, and they actually did find a gun, and that was taken away, and the student was apprehended. But that's kind of alarming to hear, as I'm sitting in class with my students, that someone, because my son's school, they don't have lockers. They carry around backpacks. So it was just someone at their school literally was carrying around a gun. Okay, so anyways, like I said, that was pretty alarming. And I was talking about how they don't have backpacks, or I mean, they don't have lockers. So they were just carrying around a backpack. And it's one of those, it could be a lot of scenarios that they could have been planning something for the school. They could have been planning something for after school, like a fight. They maybe have been being threatened, and maybe that's how they felt they were safe. Their parents could have gotten a gun, and they just wanted to bring it and show it off. Either way, I mean, it's just scary that someone had a gun, because it could have gotten in the wrong hands if they weren't intending, anything bad with it. It could have, accidentally got shot. And so it's just scary. I sent my son a text message, and he wasn't aware of the situation until when he was leaving school, people were talking about it. So it seems like they kept it pretty, under wraps, where not everyone knew about it, or no one was like fearing for their safety and things like that. And so that makes me feel a little bit comfortable, like that they didn't really scare the students, but it's also like I wish students were more aware. But I mean, people knew about it somehow, but it wasn't anybody that was in like his particular class at that moment. I don't even know if he knows who it was or if it's someone in one of his other classes. But little scary thing for the day. So I don't know. That's just part of, having kids in any kind of school setting, especially with the different shootings that have happened at different elementaries or high schools. And I don't know. It's just kind of creeps me out as my kids get older and are going to middle school and the high school and things like that. So this mommy's a little sad. So, anyways, I'm on my plan and I have probably like 20 minutes left of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and get to work and I will check back in hopefully with you guys tomorrow morning. Bye. Hi everybody, it's Thursday, April 27th, and I'm going to have a sub tomorrow, so I was just going to show you what I'm leaving out. I always leave like my subfolder usually open, so that way they can kind of see everything in it. This is something I forgot to include. This just has sub notes for them to fill out. This is just a packet of our schedule, very detailed, like I've said it in before, shorter. It's just has all the information they need. I have my class rosters, and then I have a behavior paragraph for character building, like if they need that. And then this, I just didn't include a behavior thing that we were doing and just a couple last minute things. Our morning work I left out, and then I left the curriculum guide just in case the sub actually wants to go over the things with them. And then on my back table, I just lay out the work, like this is number 1, 2, they don't need, it's not copies, it's in their book, 3 for morning, and then my afternoon class. And then I always just leave tons of extra work. I just label it like extra work morning and afternoon because some of the classes have done certain things, so I make sure it's labeled, and that way it is there. Tomorrow we're doing just Fun Fact Friday, write an interesting fact about yourself, so that will be their whiteboard message. Those are the team points that they're doing tomorrow. Well, we do team points in general all the time, but specifically tomorrow the teams in each class are competing to see who gets the most points for our substitute. And then I just left a short one. Usually I leave a longer note. This time just I'm going to miss you, show our guest teacher how amazing you can be, and then just some of the important dates that we have going on next week. So I'm going to head out and I'll talk to you hopefully here in a little bit. Hi everybody, it is Sunday, April 30th. It is like almost 11 o'clock at night. I should probably already be in bed. So you see that it's late, don't judge. I am wearing just like a graphic like baggy tee and some sweatpants, and I am not ready, and I have not done my hair at all today. So yeah. I did not get to film at all on Thursday. Besides, I filmed at the very end of the day on Thursday and just like a minute and showed when I was leaving for my substitute. And I told you guys that I was going to have a sub on Friday, so obviously I didn't film on Friday. My plan was to film Friday morning before I left for the day, because I usually go to the school in the morning, make sure everything's ready. I have kids that go to my school, my own kids, so I drop them off. But I didn't get to. I planned on vlogging after I went to the school after the end of the day, and it just didn't work out. Anyway, so I took a sub day because school's almost over. I mean, we have like 3 weeks or so left, and I just needed a day. Last week was really good. You'll see, like, this is like the end of my vlog, so you'll see that I had a good week. But I just felt like I just needed a day. I had a few things I needed to take care of, that needed to be done, like, during the day. And it's just that much easier to get some things done, like, while my own kids are not with me and they're in school. So I just took a day, did some errands, had some time to myself, And that was it. So Thursday, we just had our normal day, and I finished planning for my substitute. During my plan time, made copies and just had everything laid out, ready to go. I did not know the substitute. I didn't recognize the name. I've never had them before. And so that always makes you nervous because you prefer to have a substitute that you are familiar with, or that your kids are familiar with, but that doesn't always happen. So I didn't know if this person is going to school to be a teacher or just subbing, or if they have any background in education. So it just always kind of leaves you a little nervous when you leave. So Friday, in the morning I couldn't vlog because it was our breakfast with a buddy, because it was the last day for our book fair. So our school usually has 2 book fairs a year. One book fair might be for breakfast with moms. The next one might be donuts with dads. But they've tried to make it more inclusive, so that way you can bring anybody and not feel oh, I don't have my mom or my dad can't come. So they've changed them to muffins with a magnificent one, or breakfast with a bunny, or something like that. So my plan was to go with that with my boys that go to my school. I have a 5th grader and a 2nd grader, and then kind of just double check everything was laid out for my sub, because I did it on Thursday, but I just wanted to double check. But then my husband surprised me on Friday morning and actually came home for work. So he goes to work really early, and so he came home, quickly showered, and then we left. But that made me not get to school as early as I was planning. So I pretty much only had time for the breakfast with the buddy. I ran into my room real quick, just kind of glanced real fast, made sure I had everything, logged into the computer, turned on my smartboard, and then we did the breakfast and went to the book fair. And then I left. I usually always leave my cell phone number for the sub, and 45 minutes after I had left for the day, I got a call from an unknown number, which usually if it's a number I'm not familiar with, I don't answer. But I was just this would be the day that the sub's probably calling me no, peace out, I don't want to sub today. And so I didn't answer, but I was I bet you it was my sub. Well, then a few minutes later, I got a call from my classroom number, and so I knew obviously it was the sub. And they had got confused on the English. It said a workbook page, but they thought it was from the English book. So the kids were well, what numbers are we supposed to do? But it was actually, they weren't even working in their English books. It was a copy on the back table. So I just told them that, and that was it. And I didn't hear anything for the rest of the day. So it's kind of is this good news? Because I've never had a sub ever call me before, but the fact that he called me, just double checking that he was doing the right thing, I was oh, this might be a good day. Anyways, so Friday after school, I have to go to the school because I have kids there, and I had to pick them up. I'm sorry, my hair is bothering me. I'm looking rough this Sunday. Anyway, so I had to pick them up, and when I went there, I hurried up and went to my room to see if my son left notes, which unfortunately, he did leave notes, but he did not leave very detailed notes. So I was kind of okay, so how were they? So I kind of was more on a positive vibe. Okay, well, it must have been pretty good, because his note was very, it just said something your class was predictable in handling new authoritative figures or something along those lines, but once they knew who was boss, everything went well, or something along those lines. And so I was oh, okay, so must went well. Well, then I saw one of my 5th graders in the hall, and she was he was the best substitute we've ever had, which this was for my afternoon class. And I was oh, really? I'm were you guys good? And she said, yeah. And I was are you sure? She said, yeah. So I was oh, okay. So I wasn't really sure how to fill, because I actually asked the sub to fill out one for both classes, and they didn't leave me, they just left me one, and it didn't say which class they were referring to. So I wasn't sure. Then I found out from my teachers on my team that 5 of my kids were sent to the office. They only knew about 3 of them, where they were 3 girls, and I guess there was a big like blow up girl drama that happened. I'm not exactly sure what happened. No one really knows, but they were screaming at each other. And so they were sent to the office. They came back. I don't know how long they stayed in the office. I know that our lead teacher, she's almost like our assistant principal, but obviously that's not her title. She is a teacher within our school, but she is more of a resource teacher. I don't know if you'd call her. I don't even know. She has a special place in our school, but so she's the lead teacher. She's been there longer than anybody, and she kind of takes care of discipline and other things if our principal is like out for the day or dealing with another issue or something like that. So I guess at some point she had come into my classroom and just kind of talked to my class about being responsible, things like that. That was in the morning. I know 2 other boys were sent to the office. Don't know, no one knows why. But I will find out tomorrow because today's Sunday and tomorrow's Monday. So I don't really know what to do about it. It's 3 girls, very predictable girls. One I knew for sure he'd have problems with because she's almost a problem every single day. And not just for me, but for my switch teacher and specialist teachers, everything. So I had a feeling that she would be one that would give the sub problems. The other 2 girls are predictable, especially if it involves like girl drama. So I'm not really surprised that it happened. And I understand that he sent them to the office, and I think he was just kind of trying to show like his authoritative place within the classroom. And like my team teacher said that he just didn't put up with anything, and that's great. But I don't know, because they didn't leave notes like I asked. So hold on one second. Okay, so I'll have to find out more tomorrow when I get to school. I do have like a remind text app. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you're not, it's something that you can like text parents and students, but no one has your number. You don't have their number and they don't have yours, but you can communicate that way. Send whole class reminders or send something to specific individuals. And I did have a student message me, and they were, they just asked like, is the whole class going to be in trouble because a few people had problems? And but they didn't really, I never got like what happened. I just said, well, we'll talk about everything on Monday. But obviously if it wasn't the majority of the class, then no, those specific people will be the only ones that are in trouble. But I don't even know what to do about it already. I'm already trying to think of how I should handle it. My class is very honest. Anytime they've had a sub, they're definitely willing to tell on each other and even tell on themselves. Even my good students will say, like, Mrs. Bush, I'm sorry, I was a part of it. I didn't make the best choice. So they will own up to it. So I know tomorrow I'm going to get everything, probably more than I even want to know. But that's okay. So I know part of our morning is going to be spent having the classroom, just meeting and talking about that. But the behaviors, I don't know. I don't know what a logical consequence should be for girl drama with the sub. Like, I guess, I might have a better idea when I know, like, specifically exactly what happened. But I am just struggling. So if you have an idea, like, what is your consequence when your students, like, get a bad report from your sub? What do? And another, how can I make subs leave me detailed notes? I've had a few subs. Some of them have left me very detailed notes. Others have left me notes. Like the last sub I had, she left pretty good notes, but it basically said like there wasn't really any main issue. She only named one like big issue that they had where a couple students almost got into a fight. And that was it. But then when I got to the class, they pretty much were like, no, that's not what happened. And they pretty much all told on themselves. So she's told them, I'm leaving a good note so you don't get in trouble from your teacher. And I'm just like, really? Like, I need to be able to hold my class accountable. So in my sub plans, which as you've seen before are very detailed, I mean, laid out long, I mean, everything you need to know about my classroom is in there. And I asked specifically, please, please, please leave very detailed notes. One for my homeroom class, one for my afternoon class. Detailed notes specifically stating which students were good, which students were bad, like what you got done, what you didn't get done. That way I can hold my class accountable for things that are happening when I am not there, which the sub did not. Like I said, I mean, the only part I think that he filled out on the sub notes was just a little, I mean, it was like 2 sentences. Um, and then if you're sending 5 students to the office, 3 girls, 2 boys, I think that warrants like a more specific, detailed note. So I get to go find out tomorrow from my class. I'll talk with the office, that kind of thing. But I'm just debating on consequences because I don't know if the office did anything. All I know is I was told that the students did return to class. I don't know after how long. So I don't know. If you are a substitute or planning on substituting like during your student teaching, all of that, leave detailed notes. Please, 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 please. It doesn't take very much time of your day just to write out what happened, especially if like a specific situation where someone's sent to the office. It helps. It helps the teachers know what's going on. But I don't know. My afternoon class, the one girl that I saw, she said it went good and they liked him. So, I mean, and none of those students were the ones that went to the office. So my afternoon class might have done a good job, which is kind of funny because there's a handful of class for me. Like, if I figured if anybody had the most problems, it would be them. But we do have my homeroom class longer, so there's more of a chance to like have behavior problems. So, I don't know. So I had a sub. I won't know much until tomorrow, and there was something I was going to talk to you about when I decided to film. That's why it's 11 at night, and I was like, I didn't film on Thursday or Friday. I'll film. It's not coming to me right now. I know I was going to talk to you about my sub. That might have been the only reason, but it feels like I had something like specific. I don't know. I guess maybe I'll just talk to you about my weekend. I don't know. So my weekend, Friday, like I said, I did errands. My husband actually surprised me, took the day off, so he was with me during some of those errands. We had some movies we rented a few days before that. We watched a movie. We did some yard work. We had a little breakfast date. That's pretty much it. And then it was time to pick up the kids from school, pick them up, and we were expecting storms all weekend. Basically, Friday through Sunday, it was going to be like 100% chance of rain. Friday night, like hail, possible tornadoes, like high wind, severe thunderstorms. Saturday, just mostly rain. We had flood warnings all weekend. And so Friday, it started raining. And mostly just rain and thunder and all of that. I went to sleep. So if it got super severe, I don't know. I know it did within like our general area, and in the state surrounding us had some tornadoes, but our state and in my area didn't have anything like major, just normal storms and lots of rain. I mean, my yard is like flooded right now. Saturday, same thing. It pretty much rained all day. Oh, Friday. Before the storms actually started later than they were saying. They said around 6, but it didn't start until like 10 or 11. But so Saturday after we went to dinner, after we picked up the kids from school and did that, we went to dinner at a Mexican restaurant. And it was really good. And then we decided we would just go see a movie. We went to see King Kong, and when we came out from the movie, it started raining, and by the time we got home, it was like pouring down. And then Saturday, we woke up, it was raining. We had plans for the evening to go skating with some friends. They were having some other friends come with them, and because of the storms, their soccer games got canceled, so we moved it up. We went skating earlier in the day, and I didn't figure it would be very busy with the storms. Well, I kind of thought like either it would be really busy or most likely not. I mean, it was stormy really, really bad, so a lot of people don't want to get out during that. but it was actually fairly busy. We went skating and went to dinner and then just came home and hung out. And today have not been very productive. I did a little bit of laundry. I picked up a little bit, like wiped down my bathroom and kind of picked up in my room. But as you can see, I'm literally still in PJs from this morning. So just one of those days, and I just kind of needed it. So tomorrow is Monday, and this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. And tomorrow we are going to the middle school to take our fifth graders for a tour. They're splitting up in I think like 12 different groups. And they have some of the eighth graders from the middle school, like just touring them around. And the teachers will just walk with probably our groups. We'll probably pick one of the groups that has like the most challenging kid in it and go with them just to hope keep their behavior in check while we are there. So that is going to take up a little bit of our morning. So I can foresee us not getting a lot of work done tomorrow, because when we get there and we get started with our morning work, we will have our class meeting. By the time we're finishing up our class meeting, I am assuming it's going to be basically time to go ahead and gather up and go to the middle school. And our middle school is right across the street, so we don't have to take a bus. We're just going to walk. So we'll walk to the middle school. We'll do our tours. By the time we get back and get settled, it's going to be almost lunchtime. So tomorrow we might not get any work done at all, which that's okay. So I didn't plan a lot for tomorrow. I was just going to go over what the sub did with them, maybe kind of pass our papers out and take turns grading, or just covering the topics, or I showed you on the clip before that there was like tons of extra work. I was just going to grab something from there and do it, depending on how our morning went, once I started looking at all the things we have to do. So we'll just have to see how the morning goes. So yeah, we'll see how the morning goes, but I don't foresee us getting a lot done tomorrow morning at all, but that's okay, because we're kind of ahead, and my morning class is ahead of my afternoon class. So my afternoon class, when we switch in the afternoon, we should be able to hopefully get caught up, since my morning class won't be moving forward, though, we won't get as much curriculum done, so we'll just have to see. So that's really all I have. I mean, I could talk just to talk, but that's really all I have to say right now. I plan on vlogging this week. We have a lot of events coming up in the next couple weeks of school. I mean, at least once a week we have something big, but I'm trying to plan something special for my kids for the last 10 days, kind of one of those in the year with the bang, just trying to make as many memories as we can. Because I'm struggling, I really am. My class is a handful, a really, really big handful, and I guess I could talk about that real quick before I go on. So the fourth grade teachers had a really hard time with this group, and a lot of them actually were considering quitting. The ones that were close to retirement age, wanted to retire. It was a really, really hard group, a lot with girl drama. But just in general, just a hard group. So they specifically really placed them in a very specific way, so that way certain people weren't together and things like that. And so they really thought that was going to help this year. Well, that most of the other classes are having a great time with how they split, and they're like, oh my gosh, they did a wonderful job splitting. But my class, they didn't anticipate new kids. Of course you can't. You just don't know who you're getting or what they're going to be like. So I got a lot of new kids this year. Those new kids, I have several problem students in my class. Those new kids are literally like twins and triplets of the current, problems in my class. And that's just not what they were anticipating for me or my class. So it's been a struggle. They are not bad, but they are not the best either. You know what I mean? Nothing I can't handle, but it has been a challenge. There was talk of moving some students out to hopefully maybe help with the dynamic of the class, but those were some of the new students, and they already split the classes, so each class has a couple of the tougher kids. And I just figured, and I told the principal, if you move this person and this class with these people, they're going to do the same thing. This class with these people, same thing. Like, and no matter what, those new kids just weren't going to fit into a class to make it like the best class, which is what they were really trying to split all the problem students from 4th grade up into 5th grade. So it's been a hard class, but I've invested so much time and love into these kids that I'm struggling. Like, we have 16 days, I think, if you count tomorrow and you count the last day. And I don't want them to go. I'm going to be like a hot mess. Like, I'm ready for summer. I'm ready to spend time with my family. I'm ready to plan for next year and kind of have that fresh start. But I don't want to leave my kids. Like, I don't want to leave my students. I don't want them to go to middle school. So we've already been talking with my students and parents, just trying to find a way that we can kind of still stay connected this summer, maybe still meeting up and doing some book clubs. I have a 5th grader myself, so, you know, if I go to the park, maybe just sending out one of those reminds to the class, like, hey, I'm going to go have a picnic at the park. Anybody from the class is welcome, because I still want to have those relationships, even though they're like outside of my class now. I still want to remain close with those kids and their families, because some of them do have siblings that I might get when they're in 5th grade. So I don't know. I'm sad. But anyways, I'm going to move on. I'll talk more about it as the days go by. You'll see it's going to be hard. It's exciting. Like, I'm like, yes, summer, but I'm also like, summer. So I'm sure you guys are all understanding, especially as a first year teacher, though I think you get really attached to your first group of kids. But give this video a thumbs up if you like what you are seeing. Comment down below sub behavior, what's going on for the end of the year, and subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Thanks, guys.